Hello, hello, and welcome to the Therapist Corner. I'm Alexis Frederick Bowie,
And I'm Sharea Farmer.
and we are here to support all things mental health profession and talk about all things mental health professionals have on the mind, have on their brain, and to just give a relaxed conversation about some of these topics. A lot of the topics that we're going to talk about are directly related to our webinar that you can find on rscourses.com and join in. You can also purchase our RS Academy Unlimited, $99 for unlimited CEs. Where you gonna find that? Nowhere else. Come on, get with it. You can come on, just come on over.
That's what.
So, and before we continue, please, if you are enjoying these conversations and you're feeling good, please like and subscribe because we're here for you. Today we are talking with Sharea about one of her up and coming webinars on self-care for mental health professionals. And as a mental health professional, we don't get enough of it.
Absolutely.
So let's get into it. So Sharea, first and foremost, as a mental health professional, we know about self-care. We definitely talk to clients all day about self-care. Why do you think it's so difficult for us to take self-care for ourselves? Why is it so difficult for us to engage in self-care?
I think just like other humans and other bodies of work, a lot of times it comes down to I don't have the time, I don't have the capacity. I just really feel like I don't have the space to add one more thing to my actual schedule. And so I think when we think about it from that perspective, it leaves us very similar to our clients in this position of not having opportunities to heal, take care of, and be our best selves. And so I think a lot of the same reasoning that our clients give are the same reasonings that we ourselves don't participate in self-care. Mm-hmm. And some of those responses are just like our clients, 100% true, right? And so I think it's important to acknowledge that as why we really don't. We just really, and sometimes, and I don't know if this will be a question, but sometimes the compassion fatigue is just too heavy. Sometimes the burnout is just too heavy, and being able to understand that difference of when sometimes it's the compassion of having to hear and deal with so many stories of the trauma that you might, vicarious trauma that you might experience, how all of those things could capture this feeling of, I just don't feel like adding one more thing.
Definitely. And I was going to get right to that with the vicarious trauma and the compassion fatigue, because we know that not having enough self-care definitely contributes to that and elevates that. But if you are within the work and you are a mental health professional and you do feel like you don't have that time due to life, due to productivity reasons, due to whatever, what would you recommend would be just one easy step?
So I think doing a assessment of where you are in the areas of wellness related to your health and your whole being. And so I think the first step you can think about is a inventory assessment. So that way you can get a clear picture of, just like when we do with our clients, where are you at the beginning of treatment, right? So if I'm going to do a depression depression inventory, I'm doing it at the beginning so that later on I can do another assessment to kind of gauge how much work we've done and if it's working. And so I would say starting just with that first step of doing a basic inventory. If you join our training, I'll actually be going over an inventory and actually offering an inventory that you can use. So if you haven't already sign up for it, because this one is actually a free one. And so if you haven't already, please do sign up, because it is one of those things where I love to talk about it, but the first step sometimes is you got to know where you really are. And sometimes we, even as therapists, may not have the fullest of insight on what we're missing out of.
Absolutely. And I would say, so let's say we did the inventory, we see where our deficits are, we come up with a plan. Now, who's holding me accountable?
I will say that you should come up with an accountability partner or accountability partners, depending on the types of areas that you're working on. I think once you know that inventory and that area of assessment, you can determine a type of accountability partner or partners or equipment that you might need, right? So one of my accountability items that might help is like I'm trying to get 10,000 steps a day. So just the simple thing of having a watch that counts steps helps me to know how many steps
Right.
I'm getting. So that's an accountability tool,
Right.
right? So I think it depends on what your area is to determine what type of accountability, a partner or association or tool you might need to be able to get through versus what I'm going to the gym. I'm not a go to the gym with you kind of person, but I'll take a good walk with you. Right. And so I can hold you accountable to taking your daily walk. I can hold you accountable to getting that 10,000 steps. But for me, I wouldn't be the person that I want to go to the gym with you because I like my dance classes. And sometimes I can take them in the morning. Sometimes I can take them, but I'm doing it. But I also can still have an accountability partner that for that by just saying, check in at me on the end of the week to make sure I made it. So I think it depends on what areas. And I used all physical wellness areas, but I could do that same thing in spiritual. I could do that same thing in intellectual. I could do that same thing in emotional, where I'm getting the accountability strategy or tools, but I'm also possibly joining memberships or groups that can help to support me.
Okay. And as sort of like a closing question, and it's like a trending topic, like an Instagram, TikTok debate.
Okay.
Because when we talk about self-care and people, self-care is definitely like the hashtag self-care, it's a trend. And there's one side of the debate we're saying, well, getting your nails done in bubble baths is not self-care. What would you say counts as self-care?
All that and more. I think the reality is it's unfair to indicate for another person what self-care truly is for them because we have privileges that others may not have. And so sometimes getting your nails done is a privilege that allows you to feel relaxed and allows you to feel like you've done something for yourself. Another time, it could be a new item that I'm purchasing, or it could be working out or walking or taking baths. It could be a number of things, but I don't believe that we get to decide what self-care is for another person. I think that it's important to make sure that you're incorporating areas of wellness in all of your self-care and to look at it beyond those things, because I think that's different than saying those things are not self-care. I think you can look at it beyond those items and look at it from a perspective of, am I not just presenting my best self, but am I inside and out my fullest best self? And so to me, it would be a part of it, but it would not exclude, I wouldn't exclude it as not being.
Well, y'all heard it. Go on and sign up for that webinar. Enroll, register for that webinar where you will hear Sharea talk so much more about all of it, all of this, and all of this is important. And most importantly, this is free and it is a CE. So go ahead and register right now and we will see you guys there.
All right. Be well.